episode of the Sports Talk Eli podcast. Great to have you guys with me for another exciting episode of Sports Talk Eli. What we gonna be talking about on this episode of Sports Talk Eli? We're gonna be talking about the NBA playoffs, specifically the Western Conference Finals between both the Clippers and the Suns, and we'll do a little preview of Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals between the Bucks and the Atlanta Hawks. And then we'll talk about the NBA draft because I'm intrigued by the NBA draft as well. So, watching this on YouTube or you're streaming this on the many podcast apps that I plan on throwing this on, thank you very much. Thanks for having you. YouTube, if you enjoy us, subscribe. If you leave a like, if there's something I can improve on, drop some feedback in the comment section. Let's get into it. So last night was Game 2 of the Western Conference Finals between the Clippers and the Phoenix Suns. And what a game. What a game. The fourth quarter was kind of ugly and kind of annoying because of the fouls, personal fouls. Listen, it's the NBA playoffs. There is no reason why you should be fouling. Reason why we should be reviewing everything in the NBA playoffs. Like, if it looks like it's a common foul, then Cole has a common foul. Like, why are we doing this review? And the reviewing takes so long, and it just takes me out of the game. My least favorite part about the NBA is the reviewing. Like, I understand why we have it, but at the same time, it takes any of the casual viewers out of the game, and it's annoying. But outside of that, great game. A great performance from Sun center DeAndre Ayton, who tipped in the winning shot off an alley-oop play with a couple seconds left of the game. This Suns team is very fun to watch, and even without their star point guard, future Hall of Fame point guard Chris Paul, they're still holding it down. And I kind of see why a lot of people in the sports media world are saying Suns in 6, Suns in 7, because this is a really, really good team. They're very well coached. Monty Williams is doing a great job, and last night showed that Monty Williams is one of the best coaches in the league. That alley-oop play right there was brilliant. Because I'm thinking, okay, going to get Booker at the top of the key. He's got a quick release, got one of the quicker releases in the league. Try to put up a shot. Whatever happens, we'll live with it. But that alley-oop play was very, 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 very smart. Shout out to them. Shout out to the Suns, this young, very, very, very young Suns team. Shout out to Cam Payne, who had 29 and 8 assists last night, who was a journeyman. I remember him on the Oklahoma City Thunder doing his dance videos of Russ. And I know he played for the Bulls for a little bit, and then he was out of the league and G League in China. So he's really rehabbing his career, and that's really fun to see. That's been such a great story. Shout out to Ayton, who a lot of people said, oh, the Suns should have drafted Luka. But I'm pretty sure Ayton in another situation is putting up superstar numbers, putting up 23 and 12. If, he wasn't on his Phoenix team where you have Chris Paul and Blake Griffin, and those big mouths you got to feed. Shout out to Jay Crowder, who's proven to be a solid vet. It was probably most likely going to be playing in the finals again. He was in Miami last year. Now he's in Phoenix. Just a very, very fun team and a very, very fun, exciting story. For the Clippers, Kawhi Leonard might be coming back. Paul George missed those last 2 free throws. Now, I don't want to go too hard on PG because he hasn't been playing like Pandemic P in this playoff series. He maybe had like 1 or 2 Pandemic P games. But for the most part, he's been really superb, including the Game 5 against the Utah Jazz in the last series where he went off. So I ain't going to kill PG too much. I don't think PG needs to be killed that much. Yeah, so I'm very excited to see how this series unfolds. I really would love to see the Phoenix Suns go to the finals, specifically because of the fact that I think it would be great if Chris Paul gets an NBA championship. He's like one of the last few NBA legends right now that are playing. Well, guys who are pretty much, if they retire, are legends who doesn't have an NBA championship. And let's get CP3 a championship. Dwight Howard has one now. So why not? CP3, get your ring, boy. Get your ring. Last night was also the NBA draft lottery. And I love the draft lottery. I think my favorite draft lottery was the year that Zion was a Zion year. And we're all like, the Knicks might get the number 1 pick. And it turned out it was the New Orleans Pelicans. And it was just like, come on. But the Detroit Pistons were rewarded with the #1 pick in the draft. And okay, I think the Pistons had a very fun core last year. I mean, they had guys like Sadiq Bey, Isaiah Stewart, Sharon Grant, or was it Jamani? I always get the Grant brothers confused. It's one of those. And now you add a guy like Kate Cunningham, who balled out in the tournament, who balled out for Oklahoma State in general, who showed that he can be a franchise-altering talent in Detroit. It should be definitely interesting to see. I like to win Casey too. I think he's a really good coach. I think he's gonna really do some really good things with Cade. He did some great things with DeMar and Kyle. So let's see what he can do with Kate Cunningham and the rest of his young Detroit Pistons. Another interesting thing that I took note of is the Warriors with 2 first-round picks. Pay attention to that. They got 2 first-round picks. They got another young center in James Wiseman, who a lot of people feel like has superstar potential. Because you be potentially putting together a trade package for another superstar. Because let's be honest, you want to take advantage of that window while you still have a Steph Curry in his prime, while you still have a Klay Thompson in his prime, while you still have a Draymond Green in his prime, while you still have a Steve Kerr, who's one of the best head coaches in the league, while Klay Thompson's come back from injury. You don't know how good he's going to be. Do you want to take advantage of that and try to get you a disgruntled superstar? If you're the Golden State Warriors, you might. You got the Rockets with the 2nd overall pick, which is good. I know the pick for the Warriors came from Minnesota, which also is another interesting thing. It sucks that they lost the first-round pick, but they seem like their young core was coming together in the second half of the season, so that was really good, really exciting. The Magic with 2 first-round picks. One of those belonging to the Bulls. If you're the Chicago Bulls, then are you regretting that pick? At the same time, are you not regretting that pick? Because still strong chance you might make the playoffs next year. If I'm a Magic fan, I'll be very optimistic because you're getting Jonathan Isaac and Markelle Fultz back, along with these 2 potential first-round picks and a really interesting young core of guys like R.J. Hampton and Wendell Carter and Mo Bamba, and just a lot of things I would be excited for if I was a Magic fan. I think the Rockets have a very fun young core with Kevin Porter, Christian Wood, and Jason Tate. And the Raptors, who also got the 4th pick. I'm not concerned about the Raptors. If anything, Masai can do is he could find him some talent. He can find some talent in the draft, in their G League system, which is one of the best G League systems, in my opinion, in the NBA. And just in the second round in general. So I'm not concerned with the Toronto Raptors at all. They're really, 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 really great when it comes to finding talented players. Yeah. So when we come back, we will discuss the first round of the Eastern Conference. First round. We'll discuss the Eastern Conference Finals Game 1 preview, because I probably should do a preview. So keep it locked. You're watching SportsTalkEli. And we're back. So, had to change some things around, but still the same cutting edge quality content that you come here for when you tune into the SportsTalkEli podcast. Tonight, the Atlanta Hawks will take on the Milwaukee Bucks in Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals. And boy, has this Hawks team has been a fun story. You have Trae Young and these guys going into the Garden and becoming the villain, talking about, I'm going to become the villain, I'm going to make y'all hate me and all that stuff, and just ball out against the Knicks. Then, he goes against Philly, and they come back from two 20-plus point deficits. Take the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference to Game 7, and just knock them out. And now, when the opportunity goes to the NBA Finals, the only team in the way is the Milwaukee Bucks. I expect this series to go to at least 5 or 6 games, but unfortunately, I don't really see the Hawks going to the NBA Finals against Giannis, who just went to war against the Brooklyn Nets. This Bucks team is a little bit better. They got more veterans. and they're better defensively. The Hawks, don't get me wrong. Once Nate, shout out to head coach Nate McMillan, who was assistant head coach. They fired Lloyd Pierce, and now he became the head coach. He's done some great things to turn his team around. Fun story. Glad to see them in the conference finals. Trae Young definitely elevated himself now into a player who we should consider as a top 5 point guard in the NBA now, or at least in the top 6. That top upper echelon part. I understand people don't like him because he dates for fouls. It's a part of the game. I have no problem with it. If it was such a bad thing, then the NBA would do something about it. To like, okay, if you keep constantly drawing fouls, start dating for fouls, we're gonna find you or something like that. But the league hasn't did anything about it, so technically it's not too taboo. It's not too taboo, so why not? Why not? But when this series is gonna have to come down to this. Trae Young is gonna have to play monster games because the role players are gonna do their part, but Trae Young has to be great. I feel like in the last series he didn't necessarily have to be great, and like somebody like Kevin Huerter, John Collins, Danilo Gallinari all had to step up, but he's gonna have to be great too. My main thing, who's really slowing down Giannis on this Bucks team? Potentially could have been a guy like DeAndre Hunter, who's probably one of their better two-way defenders. He's a solid on-ball defender and a solid three-point shooter. But that's about it. That's about it. And Hunter, I know Hunter is out for the remainder of the playoffs, so they don't have him. So who does this Bucks team have who can slow down Giannis? Who does the Bucks team have? Who does this Hawks team, not Bucks? Who does this Hawks team have to slow down Chris Middleton or even Drew Holiday? And that's where the problem lies for the Atlanta Hawks. There isn't really much defensive versatility on his team. And it's well coached. And as unafraid of the big moment Trae Young is, I don't really see him necessarily being able to do any of that stuff against the Bucks. He'll probably have like a couple. That's why I said you'll probably have those two. You'll probably win them 2 games. But necessarily, that's about it. That's about it. So, game 1 should set the tone. I expect the Bucks to take home game 1, and from there it should be a very interesting series. That's all I have for you guys. So, thank you for watching. This has been Elijah Hamilton, the host of the SportsTalkEli podcast. Till next time, arrivederci, folks.